Bill Still, the maker of The Secret of Oz, is our guest. Your calls and a ton of news coming up. We got Max Kaiser popping in, and in the last 5 minutes, an update from Jonathan Irish. Well, I'm going to talk about it later. It was amazing when I saw Friday on Fox News about it. They've now returned the baby, of course. Going back to Bill Still. Bill, just recapping the basics of why this is so important and the other issues, the points about fiat versus gold.
Okay, well, for example, it's no wonder people are confused. For example, you see G. Gordon Liddy on TV commercials every single day on Fox pushing gold, for investment purposes, which I love. I agree with 100%. Buy gold, buy silver. That's fine. But don't conflate the two and think that we have to have a gold-backed money. Liddy himself gets on and says the U.S. government is printing money like there's no tomorrow. Wrong. The government doesn't print money. It borrows money from the banks. That's what the core of the problem is. So there's two
we
things.
Have to, whatever system we get, it's got to be issued by Congress and 100% public, not secretive.
Well, it can't be borrowed into existence. That's the number one thing we have to do. No more national debt.
You're saying if it's gold-backed, the government doesn't have very much gold anymore, and so we're going to borrow it from the bankers again.
Well, that's why they won't audit the gold reserves in Fort Knox, because there's nothing there. So then it's an impossibility. No more national debt is the first thing we have to do. Then the second thing we have to do is cap the quantity of money. I love the gold bugs. They have correctly identified the problem. The problem is that money is out of control, not in the hands of we the people. They are correct. Their solution is incorrect. Gold cannot do that, has never done that historically. You have to cap the quantity of money. You have to have money issued without debt by the Congress of the United States, the closest elected representatives to we the people.
Well, that's what the founders said. That's what the Constitution states. But there were periods where they did have paper script and the government controlled it, and it did cause some inflation, but there were other periods where it didn't. Why don't you briefly explain that?
If it caused inflation, then by definition it was not under control. Inflation is caused when the money supply is out of control, when too much of it is printed.
And it's always because internal elites who get the money first before it's devalued make the decision to enrich themselves. Well,
it was economic warfare during the Revolution. That's why Continental script worked great until the British parked two counterfeiting ships in Boston Harbor during the Revolutionary War and started pumping out counterfeit money. That's the only reason why it became inflated and why it couldn't buy anything. But that was by deliberate design. That was economic warfare.
Exactly. But briefly, tell folks about Lincoln.
Well, Abraham Lincoln came to the correct solution, and that is when he understood that the Bank of England was mad that America had won the American Revolution and won their freedom, and they were always trying to get them back under their sphere of control. So they created the conditions so the South would rise up, split the country in two, divide and conquer it by warfare. Lincoln needed money to pursue the war. He went to New York bankers to try to borrow it. The bankers would loan him money at 36% interest, which was a non-starter. So then Lincoln was back with his back in the corner, was forced into the correct solution. Why don't we just issue money like we did during the colonial days, during the early revolutionary days? Issue it without debt. Just issue it. Declare it to be money backed by the good faith and credit of the United States without any debt and any control that goes with the debt.
Well, we're at that point where they're creating a new monetary system, and it's just another level of SDRs above all the other fiat currencies, again, controlled by the bankers, and this will give them even more power and control.
And you're going to see, as part of those ever-increasing power clutches at the international level, you're going to see them try to recommend a gold backing, or at least partial gold backing, for this new currency.
Well, we're already hearing that. We're already hearing them promote that.
Well, I wonder why. Do you think they're so well-intentioned that that's why they're trying to promote gold backing for their new currency? I don't think so.
Well, I think it's an ongoing debate, and I tell you, Mr. Still, next time I have on some of these economists that are promoting a gold back, I will throw both these points at them and bring up The Secret of Oz. But I tend to agree with you just because of the facts that there's not enough gold in governmental hands to ever properly have it be gold redeemable if we tried to go back to the system. Now, silver could be a different animal.
Well, and no commodity money will work because you can effectively manipulate, the high-frequency traders can effectively manipulate the price of any commodity to suit their political persuasion. So you just can't do that. You want the quantity of money controlled by us, we the people, in our benefit.
I tell you what, Bill Still, director and maker of The Secret of Oz, available at Infowars.com. Do 5 more minutes with us on the other side, because I want to give you 5 minutes to boil it all down for people.
Okay.
I mean, as if you were on national television, what you would say to the people. Well, this film's only been out, 4 or 5 months, and it's already causing ripples across the planet, as I knew it would. He's an amazing filmmaker. I was already a huge fan of The Money Masters. Both films are available, discounted at Infowars.com or by calling 888-253-3139. Your purchase of the books, videos, and materials doesn't just give you tools to educate your friends, family, and neighbors, but it also supports this transmission and the other filmmakers that we purchase from. So I want to thank everybody for their support. We would not be here without you. We are backed, and we exist because of your support. Okay, Sky Television broadcast, the biggest channel in the UK, goes into Europe. When they come in, you're probably going to get 5 minutes on camera. What are you going to say to them? I mean, if you had to boil it all down, what would you say to the world?
The biggest problem is national debt. The very definition of state sovereignty is creating the nation's own money without debt, debt-free. Not only does it eliminate the interest, it eliminates the control of the bank of your political system because the borrower is servant to the lender. Number 2, you have to cap the quantity of money. You have to do those 2 things simultaneously or the system won't work. You cap the quantity of money, tie it to either increase of population or perhaps to increases in production, but I'm not sure about that. Increase in population would definitely work. Just cap the quantity of money, throw so much X amount of dollars into the pot, and let us fight over it. And then you want to eliminate the ability of banks to create money out of nothing, lend it to us, then after they create the bubble and start withdrawing their money from the system, they get to snatch our assets from us because we can't pay the loans. Banks, I'm not opposed to interest. I'm not opposed to banking. We need both of those things. Because of the time value of money, you have to have interest, but you need to go to full reserve banking. That means that banks only get to lend out money they actually have. As an interim procedure, until sufficient political force at the federal level has been mounted, a good thing for states to do, because you can sell it to state legislators, I talk to them here in Virginia all the time, is to return to a state-chartered, state-owned bank system on the model of the Bank of North Dakota. This is not something new. It works. It's been working for 90 years. That's why North Dakota is the only state that really balanced its budget last year. It's a state with the lowest unemployment, the highest birth rate. It works. It's a system that can bring every state back from the grave. It still uses fractional reserve lending, but it uses it to benefit the state and all the citizens equally, not just the banker class.
We also see the Arabs, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have a 100% reserve system that doesn't allow the banks to secretly leverage 10 to 1 or with derivatives 1,000 to 1, and they have a very healthy system.
Yes, I've heard that. I've not been able to study that system in depth, although Arab-speaking fans of The Secret of Oz have sent me stuff on that topic.
Okay, continuing here and closing it out, what specifically are you going to talk about when you're at the London School of Economics conference?
Well, if I get a chance to talk to Professor DeSoto, hopefully publicly as part of the question and answer session thereafter, I mean, he's attacking the fractional reserve system. That's good. But the big problem, the 800-pound gorilla, is the ability of nations to borrow. You have to do both of those simultaneously, or this isn't going to work. And that's what I'm going to point out. And there are people coming, really, I know economics students taking the train from Paris just to see this confrontation, if indeed it does come about.
Well, good luck. Go with God. Via con Dios, Bill Still. The Secret of Oz, available at Infowars.com. We'll talk to you when you get back.
Okay, thanks.
All right, there he goes, ladies and gentlemen.